All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Furman,
Present.
Councilmember Holmes,
Present.
Councilmember Miller,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit,
Present.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Present. Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. Do we have any public comments?
None, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session and come back at 5 o'clock. Thank you. All right, thank you all for joining us today. We're going to
Gracias a
go
todos
ahead
por
and
estar
call-
aquí. Vamos a
What was that?
That might have been somebody online or Matthew, but.
Matt, we're good?
But I could take-
Yes, he said we're good.
So we're good? Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Thank you all for joining us for our Indio City Council meeting. We're going to start with the invocation. Do we have anybody for invocation?
No, we don't, but let me do roll call first.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Councilmember Furman,
Present.
Councilmember Holmes,
Present.
Councilmember Miller,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit,
Present.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Present. Thank you. And we'll go ahead and move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Sophia, would you like to lead us? All right, thank you. And we'll move on to our city attorney report on closed session. Do we have any report?
Thank you, Mayor. There are no items to report out of closed session today.
All right, thank you. Then we'll go ahead and move on to our presentations. First, we have a proclamation to honor Dr. Martin Luther King for his contributions to the civil rights movement and to our country. He was a great inspiration to many people and a powerful organizer for human rights during a crucial time in our U.S. history. And we want to express our gratitude for his work and his leadership. Council, would you like to share any words before we go down to read the proclamation? Good. All right. Would you guys like to join me down here? Yeah.
Sure.
Let's go. Can you hear me there? Good. All right. So we're going to be presenting this proclamation for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it says, whereas Martin Luther King changed our nation forever through his leadership, service, and clarity of vision. On Martin Luther King Federal Holiday, we honor the lasting legacy of the great American, remember the ideal for which he fought, and recommit ourselves to ensuring that our country's promise extends to all Americans across this great land. And whereas Dr. King was born in Atlanta on January 15th, 1929, and was ordained a Baptist minister on February 25th, 1948. Following the arrest of Mrs. Rosa Parks, he led the Montgomery Improvement Association in successfully boycotting for integration of public buses in Montgomery in December 1956. Whereas on August 28th, 1963, Dr. MLK delivered his I Have a Dream speech at Lincoln Memorial during the March on Washington, with 260,000 protesters bringing international attention to the civil rights movement. On December 10th, 1964, Dr. King received the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, Norway. And on August 6, 1965, the 1965 Voting Rights Act was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson. And whereas on March 18th, 1968, Dr. King led thousands of protesters in a march through downtown Memphis, Tennessee, in support of striking sanitation workers. On April 3rd, 1968, Dr. King delivered his I've Been to the Mountaintop speech at the Mason Temple in Memphis. And on April 4th, 1968, Dr. King was assassinated by a sniper while speaking from the balcony from his hotel room in Memphis. And whereas Martin Luther King Day was recognized as a federal holiday in 1983, in celebration of a man who, despite being imprisoned, attacked, and persecuted because of the color of his skin, did not retaliate with physical force. Instead, he struck back with his mightiest weapon, his words. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Oscar Ortiz, Mayor of the City of Indio, along with the Indio City Council, do hereby continue to support the Palm Springs Black History Committee in commemorating Dr. Martin Luther King's outstanding legacy and continuance to preserve his dream for future generations. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Indio to be affixed this 15th day of January 2023. Thank you. And we'll actually be presenting this proclamation to Councilmember Furman for his contributions to the Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee and for all of his work and their work in helping us remember the history of Dr. King every year. Here you go. Thank you. Say any words?
Yeah. Just on behalf of the Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee, just want to say thank you to our city, thank you to our community, thank you to our council for keeping Martin Luther King's dream alive. And from a city perspective, by creating policy that makes it equitable to live in our community and set the standard also for the Coachella Valley. We're the biggest city in the Coachella Valley, and we're moving in a positive direction, and we're keeping that dream alive. So on behalf of the committee and Mr. Jarvis Crawford, who sends his appreciation to the city for always being supportive, and especially for being supportive of the ceremony we had on Sunday at Love of Christ Community Church, and also sending congratulations to Miss Mary Alice Hearn, who is a resident of the city of Indio. She's 94 years old, and we were able to give her a Lifetime Achievement Award for her guidance and love of family in the city of Indio. And she lived through all these times, so it was an honor to have that ceremony there for her. And so thank you on behalf of the committee. And if anyone has any more words, we can take some photos. Thank you. We have another. I missed that. Was that the?
I'll stay for that.
Yeah.
I'll stay for that one.
Okay. You want your mayor pro tem down?
Let's play out there. Here we go. I'll switch you. And we have a second proclamation today for Coachella Valley Giving Day, and we have We have
Jake West from California Markets for First Bank, and Mary Panisar from Desert Community Foundation.
Join us up here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
Welcome, welcome. Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we wanted to give a big thank you to everybody involved with the Coachella Valley Giving Day. This is going to be the first annual Giving Day this year, and partners First Bank and Desert Community Foundation have launched this Coachella Valley Giving Day in an effort to help raise money for our nonprofits who are doing so much amazing work out here in our community. And I'll let you guys explain some of the processes that are going to happen that day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to the City of Indio and City Council for your support of this. So Coachella Valley Giving Day is, hopefully going to be a new movement and new fabric to the community for fundraising. We have over 125 nonprofits registered thus far within the Coachella Valley. And the nonprofits have really stepped up through the pandemic, through all the need that we have throughout this community. And this is our way of being able to give back. And it's really about uniting the community around the idea of the awareness of the nonprofits and raising money for those nonprofits. So like I said, we have over 125 nonprofits registered with a couple more to go. And we're looking forward to have the community visit cvgivingday.org through the donation period of January 31st through March 1st, where it all culminates to Coachella Valley Giving Day. And these are things that we've done in other communities and have been very successful at uniting the community. And we're so excited to bring that to the Coachella Valley. And Desert Community Foundation is such a wonderful partner, and we appreciate the support of the City of Indio.
Thank you.
Would you like to share any words? You okay? You got it covered? All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for all the work that you're doing for this. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our Youth Advisory Council report. And we have Sophia Campbell joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Ortiz, council members, Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Sophia Campbell, and I go to Cabrillo Point Academy, and I will be representing the youth government tonight. So since our last meeting, we have had the honor of participating and attending in the Desert Recreations District Santa Hotline, where kids from all over the Coachella Valley called in, and we, on behalf of Santa Claus, got to talk to the kids about holidays and what they wanted for Christmas. We also went to Knott's Berry Farm as a yak social, and that was a very fun experience for us as well. Furthermore, we also did a blanket drive where we collected over 40 sleeping bags and blankets for underprivileged residents in the Coachella Valley and the Eastern Coachella Valley. I would like to thank Rosalva Campos, our yak leader, and Mayor Ortiz, because they played a big part in helping collecting and organizing the blankets, along with generous donations from the Indio City staff. Some of our upcoming projects are community service opportunities, such as street cleanups. We're also hoping to attend the Friday Night Live conference next month, which will be an amazing opportunity for YAC to improve on our teamwork and leadership building skills. In addition to that, we have moved back our mental health hike to May to raise awareness for our mental health hike in the honor of May's Mental Health Month and to support people going through issues. Also, we plan on attending the Desert Recreations District, the Desert Town Hall Speaker Series, and our members, Mia Garcia and Frida Arriaga, have even become ambassadors for the event itself. Lastly, we are excited to attend Barbara Sinatra's Children's Center Superhero 5K Marathon, Walk, and Run in February. And with that, I conclude my report. Thank you for your time, and I hope everyone has a happy new year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Which character did you play on Santa's Hotline?
We did a couple ones. I was like an elf.
Nice.
Some of the girls could pull off Santa Claus.
Oh, wow. Sounds fun. No, thank you so much for that work. And I know our families really appreciate it. I do know personally a lot of kids that called in to that hotline, so we really appreciate that. And also thank you for the blanket drive. I know that's going to be a huge help for some people during the winter time, so we really appreciate your help. And if you need anything on the street cleanups, definitely let us know. The mental health hike, I think one thing to watch out for is going to be hot in May, but if you do it early enough, it'll be good.
Yeah.
And let us know for that too. We'll come out and join you if we can.
That's our plan. Yeah.
All right.
I will let you know and update you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. We'll move on to city manager reports and information.
Thank you, Mayor. No specific report today. However, next council meeting, we will be providing a comprehensive strategic plan update, kicking off the year, letting you know where we're at on those projects within the 2-year plan. Just to thank you for all those that attended the second Saturday event this past week. Our next one is February 11th. They continue to be a growing popular venue for that Saturday evening. We start at 6 o'clock here on Murr and Miles. So look forward for February 11th, our next second Saturday free concert.
All right. And sorry, I missed that first part about the strategic plan.
The next city council meeting will be providing an update.
Okay. Thank you. Next meeting. Right, we'll go ahead and move on to our report on city council external, internal commissions and committee meetings. Ms. Holmes, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. Most of my meetings were dark. The one that I did attend was the Coachella Valley Conservation Commission. And I think you attended one in my place as well. The big issue and ongoing concern are the bighorn sheep, and the fence to keep them protected is being built, and so hopefully in the not too distant future that won't be an issue. Just a couple of other things of note, and particularly the public safety campus beam signing. If any of you guys have been down to Dr. Carrion and Jackson, that building's coming up. It's so great to see. It's great for our community and really great for our police and fire department after 60 years to have the kind of facility that has the technology that can even further aid our community. I was at the second Saturday as well. It's fun. They're all fun. Encourage everybody to come to that, as well as the farmers market. And I just wanted to throw something out there. Finally, after 2 or 3 years, Jackalope Ranch is back. If any of you drive down Highway 111, not only is a sign out there, but you can see equipment's being replaced. There's cranes and so on and so forth. So hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be able to add Jackalope Ranch to our list of restaurants. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Holmes. Councilmember Furman, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. Good evening and Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'll start off by saying I had an RCTC meeting, but there were no reportable actions for the city. However, over the weekend, out in the Mechathermal area, there's been a couple of really terrible accidents, including loss of lives of families. And so I'm going to be asking our county supervisor, along with RCTC, to bring some stoplights out in that area. It's an unincorporated area of Riverside County. And so I'll be asking our county supervisor and RCTC to really consider some street lights out there. Very tragic accidents that happened. Also, I want to send prayers and condolences to those families as well. And I also want to report that we lost 2 Riverside County deputies to some senseless acts of violence out there. And I want to send prayers and condolences to their family members, to Riverside County Sheriff's Department, and to the law enforcement community and our community as a whole, as we continue to grieve the loss of Deputy Cordero and Deputy Calhoun, who were senselessly taken away from their families just weeks apart. I also attended the public safety beam signing, another monumental time in our city, as we keep seeing cranes pop up all over our city, and that's a great feeling, So, I know we continue to thank folks, but thank our city staff and our city manager and council for really being innovative and getting these projects underway. We're seeing a lot of dirt turning in our city, and it's great. So, in our public safety community, our first responders, they deserve it. They outgrown those facilities years ago, and it's just great to see that they're finally getting some new facilities, new dispatch center, new living quarters for our fire department. And so just congratulations to our community on that as well. I also had a Coachella Valley Energy Commission meeting, and along with our committee and IID, we're still working on ways to shore up our power infrastructure and the funding mechanism to fund these transformers. We need to not only replace and secure, but new ones. And so we're also looking at the governing mechanism as well. Are we going to have a MUD or our joint power authority with IID? So we're still looking at those things. And so that was the report out of there. And also on Sunday, I did mention earlier that we had a Martin Luther King Day commemoration celebration at Lower Christ Community Church, along with the Palm Springs Black History Committee and Martin Luther King Commemoration Committee. Hats off to everyone who was part of that. Thank you to Lower Christ Community Church for letting us hold it this year. I know Pastor Melissa's here. Thank you for your work you did behind the scenes. Just thank everyone for being part of that. We had some guest speakers who were phenomenal. We also had some dancers who were part of it. And also our Lieutenant Governor, Elena Kunalaskis, was present as well. So that was just a great event for our city. And what the committee will be doing, we'll be moving to different cities throughout the Coachella Valley. So this year was Indio, last year was Coachella. So I don't know where we'll be moving next year, but just hats off to everyone and just, thank our community for the great work we're doing to really appreciate our diversity and work to help those folks of color who have been marginalized over the years by creating policy that's equitable for everyone. So thank you for that. And I would like to conclude, actually not conclude, I just have one more thing. I'd like to ask the mayor and the council, and maybe the city manager could help with this, to consider sending a letter of support to our congressman to support a bill that's in Congress now. It's HR 371, and it's called the Helpers Act, and it's Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder Act of 2021. And this bill establishes a program administered by the Department of Housing and Urban Development to provide mortgage assistance to law enforcement officers, elementary and secondary school teachers, firefighters, and first responders. Specifically, those individuals may be eligible for a one-time mortgage on a primary family residence with no down payment and no monthly mortgage insurance premium. So it's in the House now, and I'd like to see if we could do some research and possibly get a letter of support for Congressman Ruiz to support this bill. And in conclusion, I'd like to say if we could end the meeting in memory of Deputy Calhoun and Deputy Cordero. That would conclude my report.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Council, do we have consensus to look at the bill?
And also in the honor to Deputy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Could you follow up with an email maybe with some of the details?
Yeah, we'll look at the timing. If there's time, we can put it on the next city council meeting and talk about the letter. If there's not, if we need to get in sooner, then I'll run it by you, at least Mayor, and perhaps Mr. Furman, and we'll get it out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Furman. Mr. Miller, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only had one of my committees was active with Sunline Transit Agency is today and tomorrow. We have the California Hydrogen Business Council in where Sunline is hosting the hydrogen cell community throughout California. For the people that don't know, Sunline has about 24 buses that are hydrogen cell right now, and they're moving to a full fleet. They'll be 100% zero emission by 2035. Well, so they're moving forward with the buses where, you know, you're talking about a little amount of gasoline that goes into them, the hydrogen cell, which makes it efficient, like 4 times to 1 on diesel and about 3 times to 1 on what it charges to charge up a bus or a CNG. So the city of Indio is very honored to be a part of that. And I was with Dr. Ruiz yesterday and today talking to him about bringing manufacturing and the company, which is Star Manufacturing, to make the hydrogen cell fuel systems here in the city of Indio. They're looking at some property along the freeway. So that's a great opportunity. And the doctor, I think, is going to come to the city manager and talk about it, but a great opportunity when you think about the Coachella Valley and how small we are, but the city of Indio and the rest of the Coachella Valley leads the way in hydrogen cell fuel buses and technology in the state of California and the world, actually. And they'll have a new system set up where everybody can come into Sunline and look at how it's made, where it's made, and the process behind it at their learning center. So that's a great opportunity, I think, for new jobs and opportunities for the Coachella Valley as a whole to move forward. The public safety campus, I was there also with the beam signing. It's great to see us moving forward. I want to put a shout out to Scott Trujillo, our deputy city manager, for continuing to push this forward, and our public safety chiefs, both fire and police, for the continued support. It doesn't seem like much, but when you talk about a system and put in place by our residents that supported putting money back into themselves, and the city of Indio was able to start with the public safety campus, a new police and fire station and dispatch center. It means a lot. It shows that not only did the residents support the council and believe in them and themselves, but also that the city council did what they exactly said they were going to do, is invest it back in the community. And so we're looking at, didn't you say, Chief, December of 2023 will be in part of it this year? So we have a great opportunity to move forward, and you'll see much more going on in the city of Indio. And thank all the residents for supporting Measure E. And then myself and Mayor Ortiz and Ben Gutron were at the Western RV Rally. If you haven't ever seen it, there's about 600 motorhomes at the fairgrounds, and they continue. It's like the 33rd year. I think I've judged it 14 times. I know, Loopy, you've been there many a times too, and they have a parade and a theme. And you go back and it seems like, you know, they're just there to have fun, but they've spent a great amount of money in the city of Indio, and they continue to support our community and come back for many years. So it was fun to watch their theme and go through, and all the people that were there. Just an opportunity to show all the different stuff that goes on in the city of Indio. It's just not one thing. It just continues to move forward. And then also I was fortunate to be able to go to the Martin Luther King ceremony and remembrance at the first AME of Indio. I've gone the last few years. I didn't know about the other one. Pastor Melissa, forgive me, but I was there, and it's just a great opportunity to remember and honor a great man. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all my report. Thank you.
How was the choir? I heard the choir was really good at that.
The choir was excellent from Fontana. They were really on. I mean, it's unbelievable, the voices. So,
all right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. My committees have been dark this season. I too attended the beam signing and look forward to its completion at the end of the year, and also to the delivery of our new ladder truck, which will be in its new home at the new Station 86. I also attended the Sunday Farmers Market here, and I noticed because my husband and I found a product that we just loved and we wanted more of it. So I remembered that the gentleman told us that he was at other farmers markets. So I started looking online to see where he would be next. And I noticed that our farmers market and the city of La Quinta's farmers market, I think, are on the same day. And I was wondering, city manager, if that can somehow be adjusted, maybe different hours, because they're right now both in the morning. And I feel like we could get a lot more vendors if they weren't at the same time, because our farmers market seemed to have only about 15 vendors and the La Quinta's farmers market had maybe double. So if we really want to kick off that part of our downtown activities, I think it'd be helpful to look into some other schedule. And that would conclude my report. Thank you. Oh, and just one last thing. Reminder that the legislative platform needs to be dusted off and brought back so we don't have to ask each other about letters.
And that's on the next agenda as well. Perfect timing.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I attended the SoCal Association of Governments Energy and Environment meeting. We discussed future agenda items, which will include updates on the emerging technologies in sustainable batteries, as well as more information on emerging technologies and new strategies with the hydrogen power. The staff's also working on a regional advanced mitigation plan, which is a way to try and organize all of the regulatory bodies together for habitat mitigation. We actually have a great example of that here in the Coachella Valley with the multiple species habitat mitigation plan, and where our region all shares the same plan to help our local wildlife species. And they're using that as an example at SCAG and looking for ways to expand that type of collaboration throughout the region. I also attended the Martin Luther King Day event at Love of Christ Community Church. I wanted to thank the church for having us and thank Councilmember Miller and the MLK Commemoration Committee for organizing this event for us every year to help keep teaching the history of Dr. Martin Luther King and what he did for our communities. I also did a tour with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Conservation Committee. We got to see some of the new projects they have going on with the fence to protect the bighorn sheep at Lake Cahuilla, the wetlands being maintained for wildlife to have clean water around the Salton Sea, and some mesquite groves out near Thermal that they're working on helping protect there too. I also attended the IREN meeting yesterday, which is the Regional Energy Network with San Bernardino County and Western Riverside County. We'll be starting our strategic planning next meeting on how we will implement the $65 million over the next 5 years for energy efficiency throughout the region. This morning, I had a meeting with the governor's office to discuss the new budget. Their priorities this year include transforming public education and higher education, addressing the homelessness crisis, expanding housing affordability, increasing healthcare access, fighting climate change, and investing in economic development. I also had a meeting with our Assemblyman, Eduardo Garcia, and our city manager to let him know about the new projects we're working on here in Indio and some projects that we might need some state funding in the near future for example, with the Jackson Bridge. I attended the Second Saturdays event too, which was great this weekend with the Selena tribute. Thank you for our staff for always helping organize that event for us and for our community. Also attended the RV rally with Councilmember Miller. It was really fun too. Got to meet a lot of great people from around the country and just a lot of fun out there. I did have one request for a future agenda item. I know staff mentioned the concern with the turf removal program and how this could create an issue where we create more heat islands from having less grass or less plants in the neighborhoods that do a lot of turf removal. So I'd like to see if we can incorporate some incentives to plant native trees along with the turf removal program. So council, could we get that on a future agenda item, looking at ways to incorporate native trees into our turf removal program? Good. Question?
And no, and also IID right now is giving away trees.
I did see that.
Yeah, so we need to make that public. I don't know if we can include it in our water bill or something. That's a good program.
Are they going to do another round?
I don't know, but
In March, I believe they're going to do
Oh,
one
okay.
more in
so
Indio.
let's get the word out.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll get some flyers. Yeah.
I think we want to, it's a starter tree.
Yes, it's a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, and then we'll move on to the next item, which is appointments. We have item 9.1. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, I think that's after, right? After the appointments?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Appointments. After the appointments. Yes, okay. So we have appointments, 9.1, approved nominations for reappointment of commissioners and appointments to fill vacancies on boards and commissions after a general municipal election per IMC section 332.03D. Does anybody have any questions or any discussion regarding that?
You're appointing the same people back into both yours. I'll make that motion to accept it
No,
as presented.
second. I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Miller and a second from Councilmember Furman. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Furman,
Aye.
Councilmember Holmes,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit
Aye.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Aye, thank
Thank you.
you. Motion passes. We'll move on to item 9.2. We have appointment of delegate and alternate for the 2023 SCAG Annual General Assembly. Ms. Sanchez, would you like to lead?
Yes, and this is, as the report states, is the item to appoint a delegate and an alternate delegate for the 2023 SCAG Annual General Assembly in May.
Whoops.
Sorry. Yeah, yes. Having some technical difficulties.
You don't have to watch it live. You are live.
You guys look so great today.
So if you wanted to do appoint, last year it was mayor, it usually is mayor pro tem. So if you want to do the same thing and do a consensus to ratify.
What's the date?
What's the date on that? Do you know?
It is May 4th.
I'm available still. I'll be there.
Okay, well then let Wayman do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody okay with me and Wayman going?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Can we get a motion?
I'll make that motion for Wayman and the mayor to be representatives for the 2023 SCAG Committee.
And I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Furman,
Aye.
Councilmember Holmes,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit,
Aye.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Aye. Thank you. And before we move on to our consent calendar or for our Youth Advisory Council, would you guys like to be excused? Yes. I'm just kidding. You can go ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, good job. We'll see you. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to our consent calendar. And first, I just want to say thank you to our staff for bringing forward all these items. If you look closely, you'll see our staff preparing for our new water regulations. We're designing our broadband infrastructure, purchasing more downtown properties. We have tennis court improvements coming in North Jackson Park. We have improvements coming for South Jackson Park. ADA ramps coming to some neighborhoods and almost 1,000 LED lights being added to our street lights. So great work being done by our staff. Thank you very much. I do have a few questions, but do we have any other questions or items that you guys would like to pull from our council?
I'm good.
It's good to me.
Buddy, okay? All right. I have a few small questions. For item 10.4, I would like to see a staff report just because I know the Chromium 6 issues are a big deal in our state and just wanted to see if we have any updates on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Staff report that we have before you for Chromium 6 is an amendment to an agreement with the Corona Engineering. And Corona Engineering was retained to provide a roadmap in preparation for the maximum contaminant level Chromium 6. We've been talking about it for several years now. Just last month, the state did announce the draft MCL, which is the maximum contaminant level abbreviated. And that is going to be the same as it was last time around, which is 2015, at a number of 10 parts per billion. What that means to us is that we would have to treat 13 out of our 20 wells to comply with that regulation. What was also announced in that draft MCL is best available technologies, BAT. And what we found through our consultants that we are, again, bringing before you for an amendment is that there is one particular technology that may lower our operating and maintenance costs and may also provide us with better options in not producing a hazardous waste, which means we can then dispose of that backwash water into the sewer line. Today's amendment will allow our consultants to explore specifically our water, test the water, coagulate the water, meaning that we're trying to reduce chromium-6 and filter that water out. And what we're trying to do is reduce the footprint of the treatment facility. Once the MCL becomes law in early 2024, just the early next year, a year from now, our agency, the size of our agency, will only have 2 years to comply. As you can imagine, just ordering parts, the size of these treatment part tanks, there are long lead items for that. So as part of this amendment, what we're including is our consultant to, once we pilot test the water and understand the sizing of that contact time and reduce the size of these 8-foot diameter vessels, probably 12 feet high, the number of them we're trying to reduce is prepare specifications so that we can have bidders come in and provide us with that equipment. We can store it and have it ready, and it's owner furnished so that by the time we go out with a bid, the contractors will then pick up our equipment because we'll go through the 12 months, 16, 18 months of fabrication rather than going out to bid and then waiting 12 to 18 months of fabrication. We're doing that now. So we're being very proactive, bringing this before you today so that we can proceed with that action in preparation for that short window that the state is giving us to comply.
And then you mentioned that so far we have a draft MCL, right? Do we know? And so the design or the design of this, is this going to happen after it's finalized or previous to being finalized?
Yeah, so right now we call it conceptual design, meaning that based on the draft, I'd like to say 99.9% of the time, that number doesn't change when we deal with the state. So our expectations is that there's a great chance that that will be law. Knowing that draft MCL has now triggered us to move forward with this amendment because we now know what to test against. So to answer your question, yes, that's the number we're designing our equipment around, knowing that it will likely be the case in 2024 that's the new maximum contaminant level.
Go ahead.
So if the maximum contaminant changes in the future, the tanks will be useless?
No, what we're actually discovering is that this technology greatly reduces chromium-6 to a level that's less than the existing MCL, and further even half of the MCL to the level of half of the MCL. So what may happen in the future is that we would just add additional tanks for additional volumes. Because right now, part of the approach is to design and treat a volume of water and blend it with another volume so that we hit the 10 MCL. If in the future they reduce that down to 5, then we would treat greater volume with the same technology by adding tanks so that we can then bring it down to 5. Great question, by the way. Thank you for that.
And what happens if the MCL is raised?
If the MCL is raised, by the time we get to January of 2024, the investment we're making today is a fraction. Again, it's about $160,000. What we're anticipating, the cost of that is about $80 million to address. Is if the MCL is raised, we would probably treat less wells. But if it's, for example, raised to 20, then all our wells comply. And the only lost investment we have is today's recommendation.
Gotcha.
If we don't make the investment and we wait till January 2024, as you can imagine, a 2-year window, we'd barely have enough time to pilot, barely have enough time to start purchasing equipment, not knowing what size. I think it'll really compromise our ability to meet the MCL.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Trejo.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. The second one I had a question on was 10.9. and that's for South Jackson Park. Oh, Mr. Wassel. And for that one, my only question was, I saw that we're going to be adding 52 trees to the park, and just wanted to see if we're able to use native trees in that landscaping, or what kind of trees you're envisioning for that landscape.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, great question. Yes, indeed. Right now we're going to replace some trees that are actually non-native. The Palo Verdes, they're kind of hybrid. So we're replacing those around the perimeter with acacia trees. And the acacia trees are shade and native trees. But in addition to that, we're adding more native and shade trees all throughout. But there are some areas that we could not add the native trees because they're planted in the lawn area. And because of the watering cycle and everything, you can't put native trees there. But indeed, we are adding some native trees.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up a tip that somebody gave me, because I was talking to somebody who works at Whitewater, studies a lot of the native plants out there and everything. And she was saying she saw a lot of landscaping in cities that people thought they were using native trees, but they weren't. So one example she gave me was for mesquite trees, for the local ones are screwbean mesquite and the honey mesquite. But then there's a different one that was Chilean mesquite. And she was saying that's not native. And I think it's important for her because now they're going out looking for sources of these native seeds. And so for them, it'd be helpful, if we start planting these native trees, they can help propagate later those trees out in the wild or in conservation areas, stuff like that. So just something that I learned to look out for in making sure that we're looking at the native species and making sure, because the Palo Verdes as well, I think she mentioned some of them are native and some of them are from Texas or some other area. So just something to think. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Free trees.
Yes. Free trees. Tall of them.
Mr. Mayor and City Manager, I just recommend maybe we just have a blueprint or diagram of our native trees. So before it even comes to us, that'll probably be in the report. These are the trees we looked at. These are native, and we were able to do this so we could see it here. So we don't have to worry about deciphering what's native and what's not.
It's a great idea. In fact, the mayor's indicated he's working on a project within his day job that will provide us a good solid list for that very purpose.
Don't we have Mike and all them? Don't we have a setup that we already have native plants and trees we've agreed to already, haven't we?
We don't have an official list.
But you do have the ones that you normally utilize based on that. And they're mostly native too, right?
A lot of them are.
Yeah.
All designated down.
Okay. Nice. So work with that, and we'll have to work with Ray too, also for the Indio Water Authority to make sure they meet the setup we had for them too. But good idea.
Cool. Sounds good. Other than that, I think we can go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as is.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Councilmember Furman, a second from Councilmember Miller. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Furman.
Aye.
Councilmember Holmes.
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Amit.
Aye.
And Mayor Ortiz.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. And we'll go ahead and move on to our public hearing item. We have resolution number 10338, and we have Mr. Kevin Snyder presenting.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. This evening, Kendra Reef, Principal Planner, will be providing the staff report and answering any questions the council might have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Tonight I'm going to be presenting the Palmera Development Project tentative parcel map. The applicant, Indio South Business LLC, Indio North Business LLC, is requesting approval for tentative parcel maps 38493 and 38494 for the Palmera Development Project. The Palmera Development Project tentative parcel map was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission on December 12th of 2022. The Palmera Development Project overall site plan, landscaping plan, and all their site improvements was approved on October 26th of 2022. The project will be building 346 multifamily residences on Requa Avenue and Rubidoux Street.
TPM 38493 is located along the north side of Requa Avenue and is broken up into two parcels, Parcel 1 and Parcel 2. Parcel 1 is located on the eastern side of the map and is comprised of Site A1 and is 8.9 acres. Parcel 2 is located on the western side of the map and is comprised of Site A2 and Site A3 and is 5.27 acres. TPM 38493 contains the previously approved horizontal apartments, leasing office, and recreational facilities. TPM 38494 is located along the southeast corner of Requa Avenue and Rubidoux Street. TPM 38494 is broken up into two parcels, Parcel 1 and Parcel 2. Parcel 1 is located on the northern portion of the map and is referred to on the site plan as Site B. Parcel 1 is 4.49 acres. Parcel 2 is located on the southern portion of the map and is referred to on the site plan as Site B. Parcel 2 is 6.29 acres. TPM 38494 contains the previously approved horizontal apartments, townhomes, and recreational facilities. For context, here's the site plan, and Site A1, A2, and A3 are on the northern portion of the project site. Site B and Site C are on the southern portion of the project site. The proposed project is consistent with the City of Indio General Plan and the Highway 111 Corridor Specific Plan. A CEQA findings of consistency with the previously certified Highway 111 Corridor Specific Plan determination has been made. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the project applicant is also here if you have any questions for him.
We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any questions from council?
Are those maps included in the staff report that you had?
They are.
I got a question.
Good.
So on the parking itself, I see there's 600 plus parking spaces in that Requa area. It's pretty much a no man's zone. You know, the cars are parked in the middle of that. Do they anticipate that all the cars that are generated by this property would be put on property site themselves, or are they allowed to do street parking as well?
They're anticipating that all parking is going to be within the project site, but the applicant is here to further address that.
Okay, and then have we addressed any of the issues with power or utilities that's there, considering we have an issue with power and that coming through?
We received all comments from IAD.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Sanchez, do we have any public comments?
I do not, Mayor.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions from council? Nothing? No, good. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and we'll entertain a motion.
No.
Oh.
I thought the applicant was going to speak.
Oh.
Could address the question of parking, perhaps. Also, whether or not we would allow parking on the street there of ones here, but Terry.
Mayor, you may want to open the public hearing to allow testimony from the applicant.
We'll go ahead and open the public hearing back up. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city manager and staff. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Tariq Shire. I'm a project consultant to the property ownership. And with me here tonight is our land use consultant, Brent McManigal with Fenmore Law, in the event you have additional questions. We also have our civil engineer via Zoom, Scott Gilbert, in case you have technical questions. We're here obviously tonight to request your adoption of the resolution number 10338, approving the tentative parcel maps pursuant to staff report. And again, we want to thank staff very much for the continued hard work in getting us through this project and getting us on the council's agenda tonight. So thanks to that. By way of background, we did go before the Planning Commission on October 26th for the approval of the plan development, PDP, plan development permit, the 22-10-01 for the overall project entitlements. And I'll be able to answer some of these questions as well. And then on December 12th, 2022, we went again before the Planning Commission and they recommended approval of these tentative parcel maps that are subject of tonight's hearing. So we are looking forward to your approval of the adoption of these tentative parcel maps. So let me just answer a couple of questions quickly here. As far as parking, we did work with staff to ensure that all the homes will be parked on site. There will be no street parking, so it will all be on the property. And the second question was about the power. We do have will serve letters from IID for the power to power up the project. Was there one more question? Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you give me some idea of what the floor plans are like? Are these, what's the minimum square footage and what bedroom size?
Absolutely. Mayor Pro Tem, the project consists of two product typologies. The first product typology is a one-story product. The second product typology is a two-story product with roof decks. The unit range in size right around 736 square feet plus or minus. I got to look at my numbers, and they go up to about 17, almost 1,800 square feet. So again, for accuracy, I'm gonna look up these numbers, but that's generally the average range.
And the bedrooms?
The bedroom count will be 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms.
So will the 3-bedroom have garages?
It depends on the product typology. Every unit will have a garage or a port or a surface parking.
When will that be determined?
That's already determined on the site plan. So it depends on the product typology.
Yeah, I just can't tell from the site plan.
Oh, so the units that are two-story townhome style, they have their parking within. The units that are one-story, they would have a parking that is surface parking, port parking, and some of them will be under a what we call a carriage unit. So there are 17 of them throughout the project, and they would be a 2 stories, the residential unit on top, and then below it will be garages.
Okay. So, is this a project that's actually going to be developed by the applicant, or will it be sold off?
Good question. No, this will be developed by the applicant, who is a development company as well.
And do they have a timeline?
Yeah, actually, we do have the plans in the city to process the infrastructure improvement plans, civil plans and whatnot, and we are ready to get going as soon as we have the approvals.
Wonderful, innovative. You're offering various product types, and that's what we need in our community. So thank you for offering or proposing this project.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Scott, if I could go ahead too. And just one other question, sir. I see that some are for rent and some are for sale. How will you determine it? Is it by pods or by areas and that going through?
Council member, that's already been predetermined by the parcels. So we do have the parcels that you heard about, the A1, A2, A3. These will all be along the north side of Frequa. These will all be for rent. Then there is parcel B, which will be just south of Frequa, east of Rubidoux. That also will be for rent. Parcel C, which is all the way farther south, will all be for sale. And these are the 2-story townhomes.
And this was predetermined already, so it's pretty much set in stone then.
Correct. We've been working with staff for, I would say, about a year now, if not a little more, in going through the planning exercise of what would be the optimal product typology that can be the most inclusive from a size, from a unit mix, from a product differentiation.
And with those, are they going to be able to be short-term rentals? Have you decided the CC&Rs to be able to see if they're going to be able to be rented or if they'll be just not rentable?
Good question. This came up once before, and these are intended to be professionally managed apartment units by a management company that is on site. So the intent is to be a long-term rental, not a short-term vacation rental.
I
Thank
think he's referring to the residential
Yeah,
area.
the residential. Will they
Will
be?
it CCNRs or
Yeah.
will it be open?
That will all be addressed in the CCNRs.
So you are
And-
going to have CCNR.
Well, that definitely will be CCNRs for the for sale product.
So is it a gated area?
It is a gated community. Every one of these are gated, by the way.
And will you be doing the demolition in phases or all at once?
Correct. It will be done in phases. So right now, the application that we have in the city is for parcels A1, A2, A3, which we call phase one. That's what we want to get moving with right away.
Okay, thank you.
So your approval tonight will help us secure the timeline in proceeding forward and moving fast with this.
Any other questions? I have a question for Mr. Snyder. I know in our general plan, we were saying that we were going to move more away from gated complexes just because we were looking to have more connectivity.
Thank you, Mayor. So the general plan does not prohibit, it discourages gated communities. However, when gated communities are provided, there has to be a pedestrian opening every 600 feet. So we have worked with the applicant to provide those pedestrian openings every 600 feet. So that is a pedestrian alternative. So as it stands currently, discouraged, not prohibited. And when it is provided, then we do provide those pedestrian penetration opportunities so that there is pedestrian accessibility in addition to vehicular.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. Nobody? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. This let's see, get back to adopt resolution number 10338, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Indio, California, approving the tentative parcel map 38493 and 38494 for the Palmera Development Project pursuant to Chapter 156 of the Indio Municipal Code on certain real properties located west of Monroe Street, north of Requa Street, and east of Rubidoux Street, and adopt CEQA findings pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15183 that no further environmental review is required for the project.
Second the motion.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Miller and a second from Mayor Pro Tem. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Furman,
Aye.
Councilmember Holmes,
Aye.
Councilmember Miller.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ramos Hamid
Aye.
and Mayor Ortiz.
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Saeed. Thank you for bringing this project to our community. Appreciate it. We'll move on to our public comments for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, Mayor, I have Mr. Mike Zamudio.
All right. Mr. Zamudio.
Good evening. My name is Mike Zamudio, Mayor, council members, Bryan Montgomery, city staff, Chief Washburn, audience, everybody. First of all, I want to thank the Indio Police Department, California Highway Patrol, and the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. I believe it was in October or November. It was one day. I don't remember the month, to be honest with you, but I was driving from my home and I noticed a humongous number of motorcycle police, and they had cars pulled over and tickets issued. That was something, and I'd like to see that continue because kind of I think for that after that had happened, probably the next couple of weeks, maybe up to a month, you saw everybody kind of slowing down. It was a good feeling to drive out there, drive on the streets. So I want to thank them for that, and hope it continues. I also wanted to thank Scott Trujillo and Tim Wassel for their responses. I've called them, I've emailed them numerous times for different items, and just you guys are awesome. Your team is awesome. So thank you both. One thing I don't know, Mike Edgar's gone, but the basin on Violet and 49 is horrible. It's been horrible. I've been to the Sustainability Commission meetings. I brought it up numerous times. Can't walk the sidewalk because the bushes are in the way. It's just horrible. Ever since they took out the sod, the grass, and they put this rock, kind of like a rock in there, or whatever it is. It's just horrible, and just looks terrible. And I wish it would get fixed. And while I'm on the subject of that area, I have relatives that live there. And I went to go and visit them on Saturday. Couldn't find a parking. I had to park in a friend's driveway. And then on Sunday, it was even worse. I would like to hopefully see that maybe next year we could get some no parking signs during the event of when they have those big events at the polo fields. That would help tremendously, because you couldn't find a parking. You couldn't find an open piece of concrete on any one of those streets during this time. Also, some of the handicap ramps were redone recently in North Indio, in the original North Indio, which I appreciate so much. I know I'm out of time, but I'm trying to speak fast. Some of the water is not draining correctly. If you drive by and you see just the water just right in the corner, it's sitting on the handicap ramp. So maybe that could be addressed. And I have so much more to say, but thank you, city, everybody working together. I think it's awesome. City's coming together, and our feet are moving. Our feet are moving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zamudio. Thanks for bringing up those issues for us. City Manager, you got notes? Thank you. Any other?
And now we have Deborah McCurry.
Deborah McGarry. How you doing? Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Council member, yeah, congratulations. Happy New Year.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. And I'm really glad actually that you have your public comment at the end of the meeting. Again, my name is Deborah McGarry. I'm with SoCal Gas. I'm going to ask for at least a little bit more than 3 minutes. The message I have is important. This is pertaining to SoCal Gas's rates, and I really want the public to hear this. So this is really important. So Honorable Mayor, City Council, and I have to read this. This is what they've given us to do. Honorable Mayor, City Council, my name is Deborah McGarry, Public Affairs Manager for Southern California Gas Company. We are reaching out to inform our customers. Goodness gracious. I'm sorry, I messed up on my phone here. I apologize. I could probably say this all if you wanted me to, but I want to stick with what we've been asked to say. We are reaching out to inform our customers that the natural gas prices are going to be even higher than usual this January due to several unprecedented factors beyond our control. Customers may see a winter gas bill double or higher compared to the one last year. The higher gas bills are a result of historically high natural gas prices in the western states. So SoCal Gas does not set the prices for natural gas. Instead, natural gas prices are determined by the national and regional markets. This is natural gas, okay, not what we provide in regards to our rates. SoCal Gas buys natural gas in those markets on behalf of residents and small business customers. The cost of buying this gas is billed to those customers with no markup, meaning SoCal Gas does not profit from the gas commodity going up. Again, that's a commodity. It's trade on the market. It's an automatic pass-through. That's not part of what we have control over. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the number of factors are contributing to high natural gas commodity prices are widespread, below normal temperatures on much of the West Coast, including Washington and Oregon, high natural gas demand for heating by customers in areas with below normal temperatures, which is part of what we've experienced, reduced natural gas supply in the West Coast from Canada and the Rocky Mountains, and reduced interstate pipeline capacity to the West Coast because of pipeline maintenance activity in West Texas, and finally, low natural gas storage levels in the West Coast. And all of you I know about some of the storage situations that we have. And of course, there has been some maintenance going on along those pipelines that bring gas to California. To help our customers reduce energy bills, we encourage them to lower their thermostat 3 to 5 degrees if their health permits. Install proper caulking and weather stripping. This could help reduce your cost by 10 to 15% when heating and cooling bills. So this also helps in the summertime. Wash your clothes in cold water. Reduce your temperature on your water heater to 120 degrees. This can actually save you about 22%. And also, if you haven't, look at possibly putting a wrap on your water heaters. That's something also to take in consideration, because most of our water heaters are located out in the garage, or if you have a tankless water heater, that's always good. Limit the use of non-essential gas appliances such as spas, pool heaters, fireplaces. Of course, that just burns gas. If you need help, go to SoCalGas.com. That's SoCalGas.com. And when you go to our website, it's fairly simple, but go to, and it'll pop up automatically on our screen because we're pushing this message out so much. Manage your high bill, and it'll give you some information. We also offer several ways for income qualified customers through our bill assistance and forgiveness program and home improvement programs to lower their bills. So there's a 20% discount for those individuals that qualify based off of their income, plus also improvements and rebates. In addition, SoCal Gas announced actually last week that we put an additional $1 million into the gas assistance fund to help those that are income qualified to pay for their gas bills. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have any concerns or complaints, please feel free to send them my way. I'm happy to deal with that. Again, we're trying our best to do what we can. Hopefully this is only going to be temporary, but we don't know. Again, it's just a matter about the supply and demand. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the information.
I have no other comments, Mayor.
All right. So our next council meeting is February 1st, 2023. We are done for the day and we'll adjourn in memory of Deputy Cordero and Deputy Calhoun. Thank you.